welcome back. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Alexi and I'm the creator of Bukuras tutorials, the perfect place for any study, organization, or time management tips. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to stay focused while you are studying. Now, it is hard enough to just sit down and complete your homework. It's even harder to stay focused and on task while you're trying to do that, which is why I came up with my top 9 tips on how to stay focused while you are studying. If you're the type of person that can struggle to sit down and stay focused while you're trying to complete your schoolwork, then be sure to stick around to the end of the video so you don't miss out on any of these tips. If you find this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. I come out with new videos every Thursday, so hit the notification button so you never miss out on any of my videos. So let's jump right into it. The first tip is to eliminate any distractions. Now, distractions might look different from person to person. What is distracting to me might not be distracting to you. So you need to be honest with yourself when figuring out what these distractions are. It might be that you need to shut off the TV, put your phone away, make sure that you're by yourself so you're not distracted by friends or family members. Just be sure to figure out what is distracting for you and try to eliminate it during your study time. My second tip is to have a to-do list. Now, I usually write this down on just a small sticky note. If you have a planner or a calendar, you can use that to create a to-do list as well. Having a to-do list is so helpful because it keeps you more focused and on task. If I find myself working without a to-do list, I often think of one thing and another, and I completely get off track from the task at hand. However, when I create a to-do list, I make sure that I check things off as I go, and it keeps me better focused on the task. Again, these don't need to be super extensive. I usually just make little bullet points, as I said, on a sticky note, and it keeps me on track. My next tip is to have a designated study space. Now, this is going to look different for every person. For you, it might be that you have an office space in your house, or maybe you are working on a desk in your bedroom, or maybe you're working at the kitchen table. You just have to find a space that works for you where you can be productive. When I was in college, I used to love going to the library because that was where I felt the most productive. If you're currently a university or college student, or even a high school student, you can use your school library if you find that you can focus better there. Again, the actual space doesn't really matter as long as you can be focused and productive when you are in that space. My next tip, tip number 4, is to have all of your materials readily available. Doing this is going to make sure that when you sit down to complete your work, you don't have to keep getting up and going to the other room to get materials that you might need, which can negatively affect your focus. If you have an office space in your house or a desk that you typically work from, I'd recommend keeping all of your materials there. However, if you have a space that moves around regularly, whether it's within your house or if you go somewhere like a library or a coffee shop to work, then I have a reel on my Instagram that you can go take a look at that explains how to create a traveling study space. I'll leave my Instagram handle here so you can go take a look at that. Tip number 5 is to make sure you set a timer when you work. I usually like to set a timer for about 30 minutes at a time. And during those 30 minutes, I am not allowed to do anything else besides get my work done. I can't check my phone, I can't check my email, I can't even do anything else related to work if it is different from the actual task at hand that I'm trying to complete. Giving myself 30 minutes at a time allows me to focus on just one task at a time instead of jumping around from one task to the next to the next. 30 minutes is typically a good time to work as well because it is not too long that it seems overwhelming, but it's just enough time to make sure you can get a good chunk of your work done in one sitting. I'll usually set a timer on my phone or on my iPad so that way when it goes off, I'll know that that 30 minutes is up. If your phone or iPad are one of those distracting items that I already told you to try and eliminate, it might help to get a kitchen timer or another timer that you can use that is not one of your electronics. Tip number 6 is to take short, regular breaks. Now, this goes along with the last tip that I just said, setting a timer. So after you work for those 30 minutes, you want to take a break for about 5 minutes. I usually like to get up from my desk and go either for a quick walk or at least get out of the room where I'm working. This is going to help with fatigue in the long run because if you're sitting at your desk for hours and hours and you're taking your break at your desk, it's gonna feel like you've been studying for a lot longer than you probably have. However, if you take 5 minutes after each of those 30-minute work sessions to get up, go move, get a drink of water, go outside quickly, it helps you mentally take a break from your work, which then will allow you to refocus more easily when you come back to your work. I recommend using these last two tips in conjunction. Work for 30 minutes and then take 5 minutes off. Work for another 30 minutes and then take another 5 minutes off. Usually after an hour or two, you can take a little bit longer of a break if you feel you need it. My next tip is to complete any non-work tasks before you start your study session. I usually like to get any housework done or any chores or errands that I need to do before my work sessions begin. Otherwise, I'm going to be thinking about them as I'm working, which is going to negatively affect my focus. Another reason I like to get these done beforehand is because if I leave it to the end of the study session, that's one more thing that I have to do after I've spent hours studying. However, if I get them done before, once I'm done studying, I'm able to then just relax. My 8th tip is to make sure that I don't start a new task until I finish the one that I'm currently working on. This is one that I personally struggle with a lot. I often will find myself starting to write an email, and then I go check my email, and then I start writing a new email, and then things just spiral, and it makes it really hard to finish a certain task because I'm always moving from one thing to the next as ideas and tasks jump into my head. I have to make sure that I really push myself to finish that email before I allow myself to go check my inbox. Otherwise, I just get really distracted and it's hard to get anything done. For you, it might not be your email that's as distracting as it is for me, but it might be that you jump around as you're taking notes or studying certain sections. So make sure that if you're taking notes on an entire chapter, don't move on to taking notes on section 2 until you finish the notes for section 1. Don't start studying chapter 2 until you finish studying chapter 1. My final tip, tip number 9, is one that I had only heard of recently. However, I'm not sure how I hadn't heard of it sooner, as I think it's really going to help increase my own focus and productivity. This tip is to write down any distracting thoughts as you are working. I often struggle with jumping from one task to another before I complete the first one. So this, I think, is really going to be helpful for me because it allows me to get down any ideas or thoughts that pop into my head as I'm working, which will allow me to go back to it when I'm done with that study session. Writing it down will give me a visual reminder to go back to it later on, but it also allows me to keep working on the task at hand in that moment. And there you go, my top 9 tips on how to stay focused while you are studying. If you're already using a few of these in your study sessions, then that's great. Keep on implementing those strategies. However, I hope you were able to pick up at least 1 or 2 new ones, maybe even more, that you can implement into your study sessions as well. Be sure to leave comments down below on which one of these methods you think are going to be most effective for you. If you'd like me to make any videos in the future on different topics, make sure you leave a comment letting me know that as well. Again, I come up with new videos every Thursday, so be sure you're subscribed to my channel so you never miss out on a study organization or time management tip. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.